Good chair.
Fine.
All right. All right. You know, if you can't do something right, then absolutely do it mediocre. If I lived by that motto for the last 7 years of RV travel, we'd have 100,000 followers, because I made the mistake of when I used to think of having this YouTube channel. Well, granted, on top of it, Gabi managed it for the longest time, and she would just film, and I'd be like, all right, let's talk. And then, she's doing her own thing now. And so I kind of dropped the ball. Like, I don't really think about filming or video editing. And then it comes out something like this. Victor, you should video. You should do YouTube.
What does that sound like?
And so we just kind of forgot about YouTube. Like, I can't keep up with everything. We just recorded 2 podcasts back to back. So you should definitely check those out, because those are really good podcast episodes, all about that stuff, that like that ooey gooey stuff about like self-growth and
feeling your feelings. That's gets a little bit tough for a lot of people, but you want to play that game, you run the risk of not feeling anything at some point. So I think that's really why and guys particularly, I can get into this, because we're not in a good spot as dudes in this country, in this world, in this time right now.
To have feelings. You're not allowed to have feelings or express them. You can have them, but just keep them to yourself, right?
Yeah. Or like not empowered to be any level of masculinity as well as have those, right?
Yeah, it's hard.
It's tough. And I'm raising 2 dudes, 2 guys. And so it's very unique to be in a situation where I had a pretty clear idea that I wanted my sons to be compassionate and strong in this way. And I was confident that I was going to bring them up in this fashion. But I remember very early on, like, they want to declaw them, right? You heard that term. I remember, like, they want to declaw the boys really at a young age and not embrace any of that masculinity, which is essentially what will potentially attract a partner at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Although, like, I usually tell Victor, like, you're too easy on your boys.
Wow.
But yes, they're strong. They're ready to defend. Anyways, okay.
Why are we here?
We're going live. Okay, so we're going live because as a catch up. It's been a long time, and I needed a new starting point. And so, I'm sure if you're subscribing to us, all like 8,000 of you, not going to like hop on the live. We really should do these lives every Sunday. I've been saying it for about 3 years now, and I never make time for it, but we're in an Airbnb. So I thought I'd do a full catch up, because a lot has happened since the last time I uploaded
any videos.
Or, we've done some for like, we're skiing in Brundage and things that we're doing, but nothing that's like who we are and what we're really up to. So let's see. Today is the 20th. We are in Lander in an Airbnb, which makes it much easier to record, even though the lighting's horrible, but it's easy. It is really hard to record in a family our size in an RV. There's always noise. And so you just feel bad. Plus, Gabi and Isabelle and I record a lot of Making Mindfulness Fun YouTube. You should subscribe over there. But it's all that mindfulness, feeling, self-growth stuff. Over here, it's just all adventure and travel, and we keep it external. But so we're in Lander in an Airbnb because this Saturday, Gabi is doing a TEDx talk, where she's a TEDx speaker. And so we wanted to make sure we got here with enough time for her to relax and beforehand. And
yeah, it's a big deal for her. She's been preparing for this for a very long time. To talk about Manipura, to like apply, interview. I'm like, wow, amazing. And there's some really good climbing that they enjoy doing here at Sinks.
Yeah.
And they managed to get 2 days.
It's pretty cool because she's going to do this whole talk about finding self-worth through flow state. And it's a talk about like how, when we moved into an RV, she was 14 and coming off of like a whole almost decade, not quite, of competitive sports, where she was doing competitive gymnastics, competitive soccer, competitive surfing. She's an Enneagram 3. So everything for her is about being the best or achievement and getting that success and that external validation. And then we move into an RV. And at first it's kind of like, well, okay, well, she had just started surfing, like, well, this could be fun. Little bits are great. But then we start traveling, and like, that's high school years, and all of her peers and are into like, well, they did this at high school, and at the football game this happened, and he said and she said. And over those next 2 years, she's kind of feeling like, oh, I'm missing out. But at the same time, we're in Europe in like these epic locations, and she's getting to surf and rock climb places that really, like, our Europe trip was because of her. She's the one at 14 who I said, hey, it's your freshman year. You're like supposed to be doing geography. Why don't you plan a gap year? And she planned this amazing gap year and did this presentation. And I looked at Victor, I'm like, we're going there. We're doing that. And so I booked tickets and we went.
Just let me interject one thing on that one. I honestly didn't think we were leaving until I was on that plane.
I think we realized it once we landed.
I mean, we landed. Oh, shoot, we're in Norway. Yeah,
that's like the summary of our relationship. Though, hey, we're gonna go do this thing. Yeah, sure, yeah. And then we're there, and it's like, whoa. I mean, you said we could do this. I did. Yes, you did. So we get to. So her whole experience is about like, oh, this is something I want. I love it. But then we come back from Europe, and it's like kind of social rejection. Not that she cared, but I mean, what 15, 16-year-old doesn't care about social rejection? And she's like, guys, like, nobody cares like what I'm doing. They're not asking what I'm doing. It sucks. But she kind of like worked through it, one adventure sport at a time. And eventually, she gained this platform for herself through Nomads of like writing blogs and getting affirmation, and then eventually getting money through that. I don't know why it keeps getting so dark. And so for her, now she doesn't really do Nomads as much. Now she has her own platform of like helping people develop self-worth. And she's doing this TED Talk on how, in order to feel a good sense of self, you have to pursue something that gets you outside your comfort zone, flow state, and where you're learning to chase a passion and take some risks and maybe some failures along the way. But through that's where the learning occurs. And it's going to be an amazing talk. I forgot that, though, you can't see it for 4 to 6 months until it goes live. You can't see it unless you're here live in Lander. And Lander is one of our favorite climbing destinations. So it's pretty cool that she's doing her TED Talk all about rock climbing in Lander. We're in Lander. Victor had fun climbing in Lander yesterday.
That was fun.
You're lying.
I have a love-hate relationship with climbing. Actually,
loves me, hates climbing. Is that the love-hate?
I have a hot thing with heights. I always have, and so I've been just grinding my way through experiences. And so, I honestly was not in the right mindset to go climb anything yesterday, but I still showed up.
Things like counting, it counts to show up. It doesn't count to just show up. But a lot of people will argue with me that, no, Robyn, if your husband just shows up, you should be happy with that. And I get it. I've been talking about this on Instagram, but that, like, yes, I'm trying to find balance in this. So we got to Lander a couple days ago, but what we were up to before was I ditched Victor for a month.
Yeah,
did I ditch you?
No,
he chose to stay back. We have this home base in Polson, Montana.
For a little longer.
And it was something that we like the feeling of having a home base, in the sense that it is probably the most gorgeous piece of land. If I have no desire to have a home base anywhere, and I have zero desire to stay put. But if I'm going to stay put for 111 days exactly last year that we stayed there, if I'm going to stay put for small amounts of time, that is definitely the view I like. But there's just nothing to do for us. I mean, for the last month, I took all the other kids. Well, not Danny. He's an adult. Does he count as a kid? I took Gabi and the 3 younger kids.
Gabi's an adult.
She's an adult. Isabel's not an adult for 1 more month.
Okay, whatever.
She's a kid still. And we really we love being up in Montana and skiing whitefish, but the skiing hasn't been that great. So we decided, isn't that weird how the light keeps doing that? Is it my head? No?
I think it's just because you're moving.
It's because I'm talking. If I don't talk, then it works. Okay. We decided I have this rule of 5. I think I've shared this here. We've shared it somewhere that my kids know they should be ready in 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months. You just never know. I just like to have that flexibility. So all of a sudden we were like kind of play like, hey, maybe we should go get the 5th wheel. We left it, in Florida. Maybe we should go get it because I don't know if I want to go back to Florida for spring. I kind of want to climb instead. Let's just go get it. So Victor's like, I am not driving 2,500 miles to go get the RV. That sounds horrible. So it's okay. I'll just go get it. So we left about a month ago and drove from Montana just with the truck and drove to Horseshoe Canyon Ranch. And I should totally upload that video because I have a great video. That was the one video I did take when we were in Horseshoe Canyon Ranch. It is an amazing destination, you guys. Like if you're looking for a summer vacation to go, this is not sponsored. I wish they'd sponsored us because it's so great. But it's in Arkansas. It's great climbing, horseback riding, zip lining. We just went and climbed and stayed at the ranch. We drove there in 2 days, I think. 3, maybe 3 it took us. I think it took us 3 because we left kind of late the first day. Right. So we went like 8 hours, slept from like 11 to 7 in the morning, drove all day, stopped in St. Louis, and then finished the drive to Horseshoe Canyon. And man, talk about gamers. Like the kids just get in the car and Tati and Jiraiya put on their headphones, pull up movies, and like they don't talk for 3 days pretty much, except when we get flown to the hotel and they're starving. But other than that, they're so good. Isabelle, Gabi, and I like we're great on the road. We can just drive and drive and drive. And so we got there. Then we went after a couple days from Horseshoe Canyon. We went grabbed the 5th wheel in Florida. It poured on us in Florida. And then we tried surfing one day. It was really stormy weather. It was horrible. And like I thought I was going to die or a shark was going to attack me just because it felt like
creepy.
It felt like felt like Walter Mitty, since we were just talking about that, when he falls in Iceland in the water or Greenland in the water, wherever. And it's just like, I felt like it was going to be like that. And it's totally exaggerating, but it was just so cold where you could barely breathe and like really choppy and like not the sets would just come through. Like when you surf IB too, and sometimes the water's just so mixed up. Yeah. It was like, oh,
there's some weird currents.
It was not fun. Gabi caught a couple great ones. And then we went from there to Texas. It was our first time through Texas in 7 years. First time through Texas. Texas was great. Definitely keeping that on my radar as an escape area to go to. And since we are not going to have a home base, we are moving back into our RV at the end of March and super excited about that. Right? No? Okay. You said you were excited.
Yeah.
Tell them how excited you are.
I'm excited. I really am. I think one of the biggest things is that based on everything that happened over the last year, 2 years, you get this feeling of like, all right, let's have a home base. But then I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to have this. This is going to facilitate greater growth. It's going to give me that root chakra, sort of safety and security. And because of that, I'm going to be this kind of person. Well, turns out it didn't do that. And so all it did was like make me feel a little bit guilty for not being there. And truthfully, when we were in Florida, if we didn't have that, we would have just stayed.
Yeah, if we didn't have to go back to Montana. In fact, we had even set up plans to have Victor and Danny just go back to Montana, pack it up. But I was the one who was like, well, it would be nice if we all went back for Christmas in a house with a tree that we cut down ourselves. It was nice. But I was like, after that, like, that's good. That was enough. It's just easier. It's totally just easier being on the road because when you have a home base and an RV, you're constantly going back and forth between like this feeling of I'm paying for this home base. I need to get back and enjoy it, even though I don't really enjoy it as much as when I'm in my RV. But it is comfortable and it is nice that first time when you pull in and like the toilets are like regular flushing toilets and you have a huge washing machine. I mean, our washing machine's cool in the RV though too.
It's just small. It's just small. Actually, the secret to that is if you have one of those combination ones, look, you have to make the investment in time. And I'll eventually make a video because I'm really nerdy about this stuff. Like, look, wash it and dry it, but you cannot, once it hits, it's off and it dries, you got to get the clothes out and fold it.
You can't let them sit
If you let it sit in there, it's too small because it's a combo. Like they always come out really poorly, really badly wrinkled.
I can see the SEO for that. Like quickly, like you have to do this for not wrinkled clothes.
It'd be like face like that, right?
Yeah. And so we are, let's see, from Texas. Oh, we went back into Colorado and I had this huge mindset block. I am not political. I'm
Leave me
freedom
alone.
loving. Leave me alone. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not putting something on my face. Like, just leave me alone. I don't want conflict. I do my own thing. So I have avoided blue states. And I was like, Colorado, I love Colorado, but I'm not going. I had the best experience in Colorado. We went to Kanye
Cañón.
City, thank you, in Colorado. And wow, freedom lives there still. It was really, really eye-opening for me. Great climbing. We had amazing weather. Not such an amazing time checking out of there because, look, if you live in an RV, and like a storm comes through, it's one thing to be in your RV and like
stay there,
wait through the storm. Okay.
Or wait through the season, really. Right?
Well, come on. That's exaggerating.
Well,
who sits still that long?
Okay.
I mean, I couldn't do that.
Okay, well,
Then
whatever.
everything gets kind of like frozen
you
in
leave
place.
on a sunny day, I guess.
Yeah. So because we had already set the Airbnb up, I kind of felt like, oh, I need to leave today. It was on Thursday morning. Thursday morning. And it snowed the night before. And I kid you not, like 9 a.m., it's still like single digits. So you have a pile of snow on your slides and you have your sewer tubes, like you're trying to clean everything up and like run water through. Well, your sewer tubes are freezing as the water runs out. So I ended up breaking all the sewer tubes and had to throw those away. I was on my knees, which I don't know why I didn't think to ask somebody for a ladder, but I'm on top of the roof of the RV that is covered in ice, trying to not fall off while I'm like scraping in a kneeling position. Like I'm holding the AC unit so I don't fall off. I'm like trying to scrape the ice and then get a bucket of like de-icer that you put on your windshield and like trying to throw it across and then get a broom and I'm like trying to go. And then I wait 10 minutes and then like scrape again for
oh my God,
an hour.
Miserable. That's so miserable.
I could have used a type 2 at that point.
So miserable. Actually, I would have thought it through.
You would have. And on top of it, the truck wouldn't start. And so I had to get help to try, because it was so cold. They're like, oh yeah, your diesel gas, it gelled. Like you didn't put additive in? Yeah, your diesel, it gelled. I'm like, okay, great. What do I do? Just wait. When it gets hotter and it did warm up.
Yeah.
And then we had to put it in storage because I was not going to drive it to Wyoming, considering the roads were so icy that it was a horrible drive here with just the truck. So we put it in storage. Well, here's another tip. You do not want to go try to winterize your vehicle while it's in storage. I mean, you can. We did, but it was a pain.
I honestly thought you were going to do it while it was in the spot. That's how we did it.
The only reason we didn't do it while it was in the spot was because this RV park we stayed at was pretty nice, but Type 1 runs it. They're very particular about everything. Like you have to have an escort to your site. And the escorts, while they were really nice, they helped us with our truck and stuff. They escort you out. And so I felt all this time pressure.
Got it.
To like, I got to get out. It's past like checkout was at 11 and it's almost 12 and they're going to yell at me. So I was like, I'll just do it and I thought there it was like, I was just covered in snow. By the time I went to the RV park, it was already melted off.
Oh, got it.
So we winterized it there, but then you have to take all the slides out. And you've got these 2 tubes that hang under the RV as like an extra drain. They weren't capped. And so for the first round of winterizing, like you pump the pink fluid through your water pump. And I'm like, I don't understand. Where's it going? We've gone through 2 jugs and nothing's coming out.
Enough.
No, nothing's coming out of the sinks. They're like, where is it going? And then Jiraiya's like, I see something dripping underneath the RV. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to go like drive. It was only like 10 miles, but drive to get more. Then we plug them up and we were like winterized in 5 minutes. So hopefully we didn't bust our pipes. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I have my fingers crossed.
All right. So from here, from Lander, we are going back to Montana for a month of skiing, pack up our stuff. Like, honestly, this is going to be I'll try to video this better. This is like restarting over. Like, I feel like our first 7 years was a test run.
First 7 years was a test run. That's classic.
No? But you didn't
How is
like
it a
it the
test
first
run?
7, so maybe
Okay.
this time.
Oh, well, is that the test?
Yeah.
That I don't like it? Oh, okay.
Did you? Yeah, you liked it a little bit.
Yeah, come
Maybe
on, man.
a few minutes here and there.
There was a good couple minutes there that was really fun. I don't
Okay.
know about that.
So we're gonna go back and we're gonna do it again. Did you guys know that we first moved into our very first RV in 2015 on April 1st, and we're gonna move back into an RV on April 1st, 2022, 7 years later, and it'll be take 2, and we'll try to like capture. Victor keeps going like, well, what do we do with our stuff? I'm like, well, what did we do with our stuff the first time?
Put it in the tin box.
Yeah. So we're gonna just have to buy another trailer to
Yeah, I
put it,
guess.
right?
Yeah, I guess.
Right? We put stuff in and we had another trailer. We didn't. We had our fifth wheel back then. We had 2 RVs then. When
Oh,
we
yeah,
moved
yeah,
out the
yeah.
first time, we had 2 RVs and we put our stuff in the toy box and then lived in the Class C.
See, right.
Yeah, so we'll just do that again.
So you're gonna buy a fifth wheel?
Toy box.
A toy box. Toy box is kind of cool. It's so small. Are you sure you're not gonna want to use it though?
Maybe.
Because I'm like, man, wait. There's some places you like to get that you need a small toy box.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of where we are at, all over the place, all the way to Florida. We got the fifth wheel. Fifth wheel's now in Colorado, back to Montana after this week in Lander. Trying to get some good days of skiing, please. This has been a crazy winter, right? For snow. Have you guys like been skiing and stuff? It's like it's either negative degrees freezing or like there's just no snow. So hopefully we get some days of skiing because Isabelle gets really happy when she's
On the mountain.
And let us know if we should do more lives because it's probably the only way I can actually be accountable to the YouTube channel is if I just go, okay, we go live every Sunday.
That would work.
Yeah, and keep up to date because otherwise days just go by too fast, right? You're too busy playing, having fun.
Raising children?
They kind of.
Oh, yeah, they raise me. Oh, wait, no, they don't raise me.
So they kind of raise themselves. But
Okay.
all right, you guys.
Good to see you
that
guys.
joined us. Thank you. Let us comment. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
And make sure you check out the podcast, or we can start trying to cross.
I think the best thing was like I think we're going to simultaneously post some of the podcasts on here, or even at the same time we could stream it, record it, and this way people can pick how they want to get the information.
Love it. All right, you guys.